Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop, and today I wanted to do a quick video on just some testing. I don't even know how this is going to come out, but I was shopping at a local grocery store here called Aldi, and they're kind of around the US and other places. And they have a special aisle that tends to have just kind of random stuff. A lot of times there are decoration type things and home accessories. And while we were going through the store, I was kind of browsing down this aisle and I came across something interesting. And there were these acacia and marble cheese boards or cutting boards. And I thought, you know, that'd be interesting. I've been wanting to try to see what different kind of stones you can actually engrave with the diode lasers. And they were the right price. They were actually kind of closing them out. In fact, I got 3 of them. This one actually has a little bit of a scratch on that board, so I got a little extra discount and such. So thought I would give this one up to be my test piece. As with any new material, it's great to get an extra one, do some testing. So I'm gonna see, you know, really what we can do with this marble. And it says it's marble. Here's the label from the one. It says marble cheese board. And it says made from marble or acacia wood and marble. Is it real marble? Is it synthetic marble? I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have to take them at their word that this is marble. This is obviously looks like acacia wood. So we're gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna throw it in the laser. I've got the black one, and then I also have the white marble, which honestly I have less expectations of it doing anything, but maybe we'll see what it does, or maybe adding something like some paint on there will allow us to engrave it. But I'm gonna do some tests on these, see what comes out, and we'll look at the results when I'm done. So let's jump right into it. All right, so I've brought it down here to the basement workshop, and we're gonna be working with the xTool D1 20 watt. And we're going to run some material tests, and that'll hopefully get us in the ballpark. And from there, maybe we can dial it in a little bit closer. And I'm gonna try it with just the bare granite first. Now, there are some specks of white in here as well. So I'm gonna try to find a spot, you know, maybe run the test first that's gonna hit the majority of the gray. And we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm gonna get this dropped in here, we'll run it and take a look afterwards. Well, that finished up, so let's take a look at it as my first guess. And this, as you can see, is very clearly marked, but it's also kind of yellowing. And so it might be way too much power, not enough speed. And, well, as we brush it away, it's actually removing some of the white etch stuff. So I'm gonna take a very light brushing to this, see what that does to it, and then we'll take another look at it and reevaluate. All right, so I have cleaned it up. I used a new toothbrush, so I didn't have any chemicals on there, and I'm not gonna be using that for brushing my teeth anymore. But you can see it kind of cleaned that out, and it did still leave a bit of a contrast. It's not like a super high white contrast, and you know, as it wets, it definitely darkens up, but as it dries, it leaves kind of this contrast thing. What I want to do is I actually want to bump this up just a little bit higher. I'm wondering if just barely hitting it, you know, finding that right speed where it might just change the color a little bit versus actually digging in. I want to see if that has any effect. There's a huge difference between the 3000 and 50% power, where you can see it's marked up here, but down here at the 500 and 100% power, there is a good, probably a 16th inch depth there. So it's definitely ablating the stone and digging in. So if for some reason you needed that effect, wanted that effect, you definitely can do that with a diode. But it definitely discolors it a bit and leaves a lot of the crud in there. Now, I did not run air assist on here while doing this. I could try that to see if that helps remove the debris and cause it to maybe fuse less a little bit next time. So I'm gonna run a couple more tests on this. I'm gonna play with air assist, and I'm going to maybe just bump the speeds up a little bit, and we'll see what effect that has on here. And then we still have that white one to try as well. So more testing to come. All right, so I've completed some tests, and we'll take a look at them here. I even did a test on the Acacia board, because I figured once we're done with this, we'll see what we can set up on one of the others. But what kind of came out the best, I think, here is I ran air, and between 4,000 and 5,000 millimeters a minute, we're getting a fairly consistent engrave. It's got just enough depth that it's consistent, but it's not super deep, so it's not fracturing as much. And I went ahead and I brushed this with the toothbrush, cleaned it with alcohol. I even took it to the kitchen sink and just kind of wiped it down with soap and water a little bit to kind of simulate, you know, what it would really go for and you know, normal use. And so yeah, I think between 4,500 to 5,000 millimeters a minute. And really the power settings seem to be pretty consistent from 50 to 100, so no sense in burning out your laser at 100% power. So you could definitely run this at, you know, 70 to 80% power and be good there. Now I also ran just a little graphic down here. If you can see that, there's kind of a little cat engraving there, and I wanted to try to hit this white piece. I don't know if I can get the angle right, but you can see that it did still ablate the white. So I'm curious how it'll go on the white panel. I may or may not. I may run a test on it. I may just kind of send it on something and see. And but it does look like it'll interact with the white. But we'll see maybe on a full one where there's less gray in it, if that makes a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up with a real file. Maybe we'll do it on this backside first as a test, see how it might look for us to set up an engraving, and on both the marble, if it is marble, still not 100% sure on that, as well as the acacia wood, and then we'll kind of see what it looks like when it's all done. So I'm gonna go do that, and then we'll also maybe run a similar test on the white, and we'll wrap this up. All right, so ran the test on the white, and wasn't sure that it was going to do anything, but let's see if we can see that there. It actually did ablate it. Now it's very low contrast. You can kind of see it there, but there is not as much depth as the black, but it's leaving kind of a white. I can get that to show up. So technically possible, but you know, you're really not going to see it very well, but it is marking it though. Take that for what it is. You know, I just kind of thought I'd give the white one a shot and see, I may see now if I can polish that back out. But anyway, the black turned out decent. There is more contrast. I think it's viable. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up a file for the remaining board I have that's got the gray marble and the acacia wood. I'm going to try to engrave on each one and just kind of give an example of what it might look like on this project as kind of a final product, and we'll see how that looks when I'm complete. All right, so we threw this in there, and here's our finished product here. We have a saying across the bottom, everything is better with cheese and wine, with a little bit of a cheese and wine logo there, and just a monogrammed logo with our last name in it. So, and this was done in one job. We just set up the different settings. The marble here, we were running at 4,500 millimeters per minute at 85% power. And then the bottom here was 10,000 millimeters a minute at 65% power. I was going for just enough, wanted a dark engraving, but I didn't want to go too deep into this. Now, again, this being you know, a product that's normally used for food, I would strongly recommend that if you use this, you only use the non-engraved side when using it for food, and then display this side up when you're not in use, just to prevent anything from collecting in this engravings that could fester and cause some problems down the road. So again, this type of board, they just recommend warm water, wipe it clean that way. They don't want you to submerge this. They don't want you to put it in dishwasher and such. So it should be fine for these. And again, using it just for like meats and cheeses kind of thing. And once again, here are our tests that we ran, and you can see on the first one I ran, we were really ablating this pretty deep on the 100% power, 500 millimeters a minute. So even though I was running this with the 20 watt xTool D1 Pro, I think even a 10 watt would be able to do just fine. You're probably going to need to slow it down then from my 4,500, maybe down into the 2,500 to 3,000 range. And possibly even a 5 watt laser could mark this marble. I might give that a shot. I've got some leftover space on this board that maybe I can run some more tests on a few different lasers, see how it comes out. But just wanted to kind of test out this material and give you guys hopefully some inspiration on whether this is something that would work for a project you're thinking of. And just a reminder to, as you're out and about shopping around, keep your eyes out for some of those items that you can easily add some engraving and customization to it. Not everything we make needs to be a complete build up from raw materials and your own stuff. It can be just as fulfilling and rewarding as doing some modifications and customizations of existing products that you can upsell or add as some really nice gifts. So hopefully this is some inspiration for you. If you're interested in any of the products you saw here, I'll leave links down below to as many as I can. Definitely have links as far as the laser if you're interested in that, but also some of the materials and whatnot that I use in my shop. These are affiliate links, and they do provide a small kickback to myself and this channel at no extra cost to you. So it's always no pressure, but I appreciate you using them as they do help out. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those down below. Hit that like button, and if you're new here and you like what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps out. Anyway, thanks again for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and most of all, I hope you can get out into your workshop and make something too. We'll catch you next time.